John Fox came up to me in camp and he was telling me when Michael Strahan broke the sack record that like half of his sacks were on the interior. After I heard that, you know, I kind of just I just committed to it. And I was like, all right, screw it, dude. I'm gonna just listen to the old man and you know and do it.
There it was, John Fox. He was talking about John Fox. He's the Lions' special assistant on defense, but he's a veteran head coach in the league. The Bears, the Broncos, the Carolina Panthers. He's one of those unsung coaching assets that the Lions have that you sometimes forget about, but that is huge. That is huge. I
a guy like him
on that fire. Like if we're not firing AG, but like if AG were to have gotten fired, we got someone like John Scott. John Scott Jr., the defensive line coach. John Fox, who could step right in as like a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and to me too, just that story there for Hutch, just to be able to hear things like that, and it's not just to hear it, but the fact that they're telling, like, he's going to tell him stuff about Strahan, like what he did, and you know, like I just said, met with J.J. Watt. He's putting that in his head that he can do these things.
Yes,
it's not just something he's just hearing and they're just telling him just to tell him. They're literally sitting there and saying, Michael Strahan did this, 22.5 sacks. This is something you should have in your head to be able to go break. And he's Aidan Hutchinson. I'm going to go to J.J. Watt and talk to him how he went all the way up to 20 sacks or 20-something sacks in his second season.
Yeah.
He's getting that put in his head. There's a reason he's 4th right now in the Defensive Player of the Year odds.
Yeah. And he's saying
he's on that level.
The key to that was that Strahan, when he broke that record, he got, I think the stat that John Fox gave him was there's more than half of his snaps were from the inside. Yep. And Aidan Hutchinson, he talked about being primarily, I mean, he's been primarily an edge rusher his entire career, but he's starting to get used to the inside. So he's talking about that, how did I tell it? Lining up inside Hutch and the things that he's learning now from that position.
Do you see Hutch too
kind of
like
in the middle around, you know, because I can rush inside, and finally, I feel like I've got a lot of confidence with it this year compared to last year. And now it's something that I kind of want to do. You know, if there's a not so great guard, I want to be the guy to line up on him and attack him and attack you know, the weakness of the O-line. So yeah, I think it's just a lot more confidence this year on the edge, on the inside, everything that makes me very versatile. Rushing as a 3 tech, it's tight spaces and everything hits a lot faster, and they've kind of given me a little freedom that I can stand up and kind of just freestyle a little bit. So that's where I feel like I'm at my best, is when I can just go and not think. I honestly just feel like I've accepted it a little bit. You know, I don't think for a while I didn't want to accept it, and I kind of just said, F it, dude, I'm here, and it's like, might as well just go. And I feel like it was just a mindset change more than a move learned.
That's what I'm talking about, out of your defensive star, your second overall pick.
Yes. I literally, while all this was going, I looked at Broder. I was like, this is literally what Myles Garrett's been doing for Cleveland. Those elite guys in the league, Nick Bosa, moving around. These guys are moving around because they're finding the weak spots of the offensive line. They're going to look at the weak spots, and they're putting Hutch in the best position. It's not like, hey, you just have to be on this side of the line or be on the edge. No, you're finding the weak spots of that offensive line, and you're putting your best player up against their worst player.
Yes.
And you're telling him, go dominate their worst player. Go get us 3 sacks tonight and go get us a fumble and do that. And Hutch has been great. He's like, we saw it in Green Bay. He was literally sitting in the middle doing what Myles Garrett was doing, sitting there,
crossover,
the crossover,
Jamal,
going back and forth over the nose, like just going back and forth. So he was doing that, and it changes the game so much. It doesn't just put Hutch in those best positions. It puts all of those other pass rushers, John Kaminsky, Aleem McNeil, every single guy is getting put in the best position because Hutch is able to open up and do that. And last thing with that, do you guys all remember last year too, when he was down in that little 3-point stance, and when he made that turn was when they opened him up and they said, no, go off, like stand up and go be you. This is that next level to where it's, hey, stand up, be you, but also we're gonna move you around wherever you want on the line. Hey, your freedom, go play.
Hey, Boone, to your point about, you know, getting better as like a D-line and stuff like that, this is a crazy one, but like if you guys from the Vikings from, like, you know, 15 years ago when Jared Allen was playing, I think it was Pat Williams and like Kevin Williams, the two, like they were in the middle. You had Jalen, I think he was a left end or right end. I know it was one of them. He would always get off because they'd always pinch, you know, Pat and Kevin. So I feel like now in the middle we have two good guys. You know, you got Aleem, you got, you know, Charles, or whoever's in there, Kaminsky. Aiden's gonna get that outside interior space to, you know, pressure the quarterback or sack him. But if they pinch the two nose tackle and, you know, stuff like that, we'll be good to go. And I think that's going to happen as soon as we get better. Because everyone on our D-line is getting better by the year. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting.
I forgot about Jared Allen. That's a good comp.
It is.
But it's funny, you guys were both talking, and I don't think you knew what video was coming next, but talking about how that brings the best out of the players around him and how the different things that they're doing on defense are leading to this #1 rush defense in the entire NFL. So, Jalen, if you could play another short video, Hutch talking about the rush defense.
Are we leading the league? Yeah. That's the league. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like every week we accept the challenge, you know, and I feel like everyone's just doing their job and executing at a high level when we get in the games. And yeah, I don't think there's too much secret sauce to it. I feel like teams have been leaving the run game a lot early against us because we're stopping it so well. So it's very beneficial for our pass rush too, you know, when you can stop the run. So it really, all around the board, I think we're just executing at a high level. And everyone's doing their job, especially in the front seven with the run game. And I mean, our DBs fitting in the C gaps and wherever. So yeah, I think it's a culmination of a lot of different things. When those gaps are constricted and stuff, and as you're an edge rusher, you know, and let's say you have a two-way go and you pick one, like there's always going to be when you're rushing 4, there's 6 gaps, so there's always going to be gaps open. But when that interior is pushing the front and pushing everything, it constricts and it makes everyone's jobs a lot easier. I think that's what they're doing, and they're doing a really good job of it. We've all been very productive these last few games.
So I wanted to include a little, like, he got kind of deep into some X and O's and the type of 3 technique and rushes that he was doing. But I wanted to make the point of him talking about how it's just the different guys on his line, his teammates, and the execution, their continuity in trusting each other is bringing out the best in the people next to them, all the way back to the defensive backs.
Yeah, it helps me confidence. The fact, too, that he didn't even know that they were leading the league in rushing defense, it shows that the tunnel vision that these guys have, that is what you want. Like, obviously, you would like him to know a little bit, like, hey, you guys are dominating, keep dominating. They obviously feel that and know that. But for him not to know that, it's crazy. Like, their tunnel vision, they're like, hey, we're next game. Don't care about the last stats. Next game. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. Aaron Glenn's probably going in there and saying, this is what's working, this is what's not. Don't care about what we're ranked in the NFL, because guess what? We were ranked 32nd in defense last year, and still we're just 1 game out of the playoffs. So if you go out there and dominate in defense and you don't even think about the rankings or anything, everything will take care of itself.
Yeah.
And that's what he explained there. It's like, hey, when we have everyone on the same page, guys are filling the right gaps, guys are making the right plays, everything will take care of itself. You don't have to worry about sitting there trying to make up and do all these. So
they're still hungry. They're still hungry. And we're gonna play a clip after you do a pregame read on Amon-Ra speaking from the offensive side of the ball. But you can start to see the similarities in these veterans. And I'll call Aidan Hutchinson a veteran just for this point. But these second, third-year players are starting to understand and not take anyone for granted.